Kids don't know how to dress.
Yeah.
People don't know how to record music that sounds like it's from the 90s.
Yeah.
Kids wear the weirdest clothes and think they're vintage. I don't know what you mean about so you notice they wear, like, dull colors.
Yeah, because I remember, okay, so like when you think about the 90s, right? Like people would wear like baggy jeans, like Jenko jeans.
Well, it depends on because there's the first half of the 90s and the last half of the 90s are, like, entirely different.
No, I know, but like when you think of like some of the biggest fashion styles to come out of the 90s, there was a lot of like baggy jeans and crop tops. And I mean, with grunge, there were flannels. And then I mean,
Grad
I personally saw like a lot of vintage 90s dresses, so I know, what cuts were popular, but it's like from what I can see is the kids today, they want the same cuts of the clothing, but they don't want any patterns. But if you think about like the 90s overall, there was so much going on. I mean, there was, there were the muted tones, but there were a lot of florals. I mean, there was a lot of plaid definitely going on. And they don't want that. I don't, and so I definitely that I think them not wanting any color or any words on their, on their clothing, that speaks volumes about that generation. And why is that? And I
well,
can't figure that out.
first, I should have cut you off sooner, but I let you finish. We don't use
Okay.
that. We don't use that G word around here.
What G word?
The genre of music.
Oh, grunge?
Yeah, no, it's alternative rock or Seattle, whatever. But
Okay, well, in fashion,
I know.
we use that word. So,
You have to use it sometimes to get the point across. If I can ever avoid using it, I do. I try to avoid using the word emo just because I'm old enough to remember when emo was also like I used to get bullied and called emo. That was like an insulting word, and now all of a sudden
yeah.
it's a cool word, and it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
The fashion stuff, I don't know.
I
I
don't
think it's weird.
know.
I think it's funny that me and you were sitting here talking about how kids aren't dressing bright enough. I don't know what we're thinking. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't
My
know.
two younger brothers, they've never gotten into the whole. They were more like they went to the gym for fun,
Okay.
so they never.
They went to the gym for fun.
Yeah, they both went to gyms for fun. They never got into. They didn't get into the emo thing.
Yeah.
Um, they don't play music. Neither of them play music though. But yeah, so I never really was able to keep up on. I was able to keep up on things just on kind of like the different side of like the trends as far as
Yeah.
all that stuff goes.
Yeah, I lived that emo life many moons ago, but
Yeah, yeah, I think most
it's
of us
it's like
did.
it is irritating though when people will still, okay, it's irritating to me when people mix up goth and emo.
And
I get
scene.
that all the time from my family. Oh, aren't you emo? No, not at
And
all.
my biggest pet peeve is they mix up emo and scene kids.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
scene, it was like when I was that age. I know there's arguments about like real emo. People tell you send you to real estate. I don't give a fuck about you. We're not talking about you. You're old. To me, it was like Fall Out Boy and the Used.
yeah.
And then scene is like Pierce the Veil and Attack Attack.
Yeah.
But people will like post like a Pierce the Veil track, and they'll be like, "Oh, emo," and I'm like, They were there. That's not fucking emo. That's we were on to the scene kid phase. It was like a Skylit Drive,
Yeah.
of Mice and Men. Like those weren't emo bands. Those are scene bands.
Were you ever into the scene kid MySpace phase? Did you keep up with that?
MySpace, yeah, that's like when I thrived.
No, but like the there was like a whole group of like these, I guess they were kind of like early MySpace influencer kids that were all scene kids, and they all had names Like they would have, it was like your first name and then the last name was like just something made up.
What are you talking
And
about? Specific kids or just making a name like that?
no, like specific people. Like, did you ever know of like Amor Hilton, like the famous like MySpace kids
I don't recognize
that
that
were
name, no.
okay? I'd have to show you some photos. It was oh, there were a couple of them, and they usually were like you'd find them in magazines with like the big pink teased hair and tiny little bodies, and then they always had drama, and I would pay attention to that drama because you would find out every week, like, oh, like who's having sex with who, and it was always a thing.
Yeah.
I was super into like, you know, I mean, how old were we? We were like 12. So I'm like, and then these people were like 18 or 19. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what was going on.
By the time I was on MySpace, I was 14. I was 14 when I made my first. I might have been 13, but I think. Do you remember the age where did you have to be 15 to make a MySpace or 14 to make a MySpace?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I remember having a MySpace in like 6th grade.
But I mean, when you went to create a MySpace profile, you know, they'll say you need to be like 14 to make a MySpace, and you just check the box saying yes, I'm 14 anyways.
Yeah, I mean, this is 20 years ago. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was 14 and I was 13. All I remember is that I was 1 year before the age that MySpace tells you have to be this age to make a MySpace. I actually had a friend.
I remember being like 11 doing that.
Yeah, but I was like 13. I had a friend that was so fucking square that he didn't make a MySpace until like his 14th birthday, and he's like, I'm not old enough. And we're like, dude. So we'd all sit around. It was me and the two of them were brothers. It was like two of my best friends. And yeah, one of them was like, no, I'm not old enough. I can't do it. We're like, dude, you just check the fucking box and make it. And he's like, no, I'm not old enough. I'm not. So he'd sit around and watch us. We'd sit on MySpace on the same computer, and like me and the kid that had the MySpace, you know, we'd argue over, you know, I'm talking to 2 girls. Well, I'm talking to 3 girls, so I get the, you know, like,
yeah,
you have to be on MySpace longer. MySpace was the best. It's like the best. They should have never.
It's crazy to me, like how young we were, and we all just casually learned HTML coding. Like I was so good at that, but I don't remember a thing anymore, and I don't even know how I think what it was is because we had to make those layouts. And so I just figured out through the layouts, okay, this means this.
You had to make layouts. Do you remember Twitter badges?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you got to put your Twitter badge in there in the HTML. One thing that I always think is funny about MySpace is the phases of it. So like when I first got a MySpace, your layout, it was supposed to be like huge and big, and it was supposed to be shiny and have a bunch of stuff, and you had songs.
Yeah.
And by the end of MySpace, it was the simplistic where you had a cool MySpace.
Cool.
If it was so short that you couldn't even scroll, it was just one page. Yeah.
No, I did that. I mean, I remember like all the cool guys in high school, like the cool guys that were like on drugs and super laid back that you just like, you wanted to know. They had their MySpace like that. Like there was like nothing in the about me, just like hi, or like some kind of like really smooth quotes. Yeah. And then like, I don't even remember, like they didn't even have a top 8. They had like maybe a top 2 or 3 that they figured out how to
sometimes even
that.
1.
Yeah.
If it was,
and we were like, who is he?
Yeah. During that time, my bandmates and we would just have one sharing friend, and it was just the band MySpace. And then you'd have like 3 comments, maybe 3, because you know you gotta have 3. Yeah. There was a girl that I had a crush on, like pretty much my entire fucking life, that I met in like middle school, and I would always just whatever her layout was, I would kind of go off of that.
Yeah.
And I remember toward the end of it, hers was like, I think it was like sort of white with like maybe some polka dots, and it was just, you couldn't scroll it. It was short. It was straight to the point. And then fucking Facebook came and ruined everything. You know, I was like the last kid on MySpace. Everyone at my high school had gone to Facebook. So I used to sit at my friend's house, like sitting on MySpace, like literally just refreshing it and just no notification, like nobody was on there. Okay, the way I actually got my first Facebook, this is one of the greatest fucking stories of all time. So I refused to make a Facebook. I was diehard MySpace. Everyone's moved on to Facebook. I'm lonely as fuck sitting on MySpace. And
Okay.
I used to go to this youth group at this church in my town. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, damn near just for something to do to hang out with other kids. So I'd go to this youth group, and one day the youth pastor, at the time, this is the important part. I was dating a girl. I've probably mentioned her to you like a million times, and she was very
Mm-hmm.
high maintenance and bossy, and
Yeah.
so she was always telling me that I need to make a Facebook because without me on Facebook, she can't add in a relationship with me or whatever.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I
So
refuse. I'm
important.
on MySpace, whatever. One night I go to youth group, and my youth pastor comes up and he's like, "Oh, Anthony," that's what I was my middle name.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to see you finally on Facebook. And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I found you on Facebook last night. I added you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" We go over to the computer at the church, and there's me on Facebook, and it was like she made the fucking Facebook, and it was to the point where the bio, what was there, like hobbies or whatever there was on Facebook, like what I like to do.
Yeah.
She'd filled it all out, and it was like what I like to do is doing what her name tells me to do. Like it was all everything was so she made this Facebook, filled it all out, all about her, and then was adding my friends. So like I had my friends added, and my youth pastor was. I'm like, oh come. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was adorable.
That's great.
And then
Well,
after that, I ended up just finally making my own.
yeah. Yeah. No, MySpace was you had to be there, you know.
There's a
We
great
only
video.
knew, yeah.
I have to send you. There's a great video about like the death of MySpace. I need to find it again, and it's a really good video.
I feel like I'm surprised there's not a documentary.
It's kind of
It's
like
a,
a documentary style
it was a
video.
whole era. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you'd get home from school and then you'd have that little like new friend request, new message, and like what was it, like the red fonts? And
Yeah.
you'd be so excited. But yeah, I do remember like you had to have the song match your layout. Like that was so important. It had to flow. And then I remember you'd go on to some people's profiles, and it was just sometimes there was like too much stuff, like especially with like young girls. It was like just flashy, every kind of icon they could find, and it always said something like princess or
Yeah.
something stupid like that. And then I do remember a couple of people where they tried to make it really surprising and offensive. Like you go on there and they had I remember one girl, she made her background like a picture of someone being like mutilated. And it was like, oh no. And you're trying to like scroll down to write a comment, but there's like this giant picture in the background that's like super unpleasant.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of people doing things like that for a shock surprise. But yeah, MySpace was great.
Did you
It just
ever when you picked your song,
yeah.
sometimes I would intentionally so like there's an Under Oath song. I don't know if you know that band, Under Oath.
Yeah, I do.
They have a song that it starts right away, and it's like it's loud, the guys it hits. So like you would do it as like a jump scare, so people would visit your profile, and then with the song, like
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
always pick those like obnoxious songs, or I would pick songs that I know certain girls were into, so that when they come to my MySpace, they comment to be like, "Oh, I didn't know you liked this band too," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know you liked them, but I'm not going to say that." But
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. I think the thing you're talking about when you go home from school and you check and get all one of the notifications built up.
Yeah.
To me, what's funny about that is that's not even like a MySpace thing. That was just a byproduct of like not having social media on your phone. It's just on your computer at home, so you can't.
Yeah.
You
No, that
can't.
makes sense.
Yeah,
That definitely makes sense.
you can't
Yeah.
get to them now with it on your phone. It's just consistent throughout the day. Whereas back in the day, it was all like one big euphoric explosion when you get home from.
No, it's cool. Yeah. I always liked like even if you just had like one message, it was so exciting. But then you click it and it was like somebody just whatever. Or sometimes you get like some kind of like spam from like promoted bands and
Yeah,
things like that. And it's like, oh man, you
that was
wanted
my
it to be
band.
like your crush. You were like so excited to hope it was like somebody that you really liked.
Do you remember
Um,
the bulletin surveys or quizzes or whatever?
yeah, I do. I
Like,
do.
what was the last thing you ate?
Yeah.
It'd be like, who was the last person you kissed? And you'd put something all cryptic and heartbroken and like hope that
Yeah.
person read the bulletin or something.
But you know what? Like, because we were so young, I mean, I remember because it was realistically like the only form of social media was so new for literally everybody. So I remember, you know, celebrities were using MySpace, but then because of that, there were a lot of people starting to make fake profiles of celebrities. So I remember like when I was using MySpace, it was right when like Pirates had come out, and I was a huge Orlando Bloom fan. And I was like scrolling and scrolling, and I was like, no, this has got to be him. This is the real
Oh yeah.
Orlando Bloom. It's just it like seems so legit to like my 11-year-old eyes, because I think it said in the profile like this profile is run by like myself and my team, and it seemed like he had a whole setup.
Yeah.
And I had like messaged him, like talking to him, thinking like, okay, I'm really talking to Orlando Bloom. This is definitely him. And now that I think about it, I'm like, I was probably talking to some like random fucking dude. That's so crazy.
And right when that movie came out in high school, when it grow out my mustache a little bit, people tell me I look like Orlando Bloom, and I always hated it because I don't think I do at all. I never thought I did.
Yeah.
I always got Orlando
Wait,
Bloom.
who's here? Someone's in the chat.
Oh, that's my guy. That's the guy that wrote our story today.
Do you want to come on camera? Can we get you on here? How do we do that?
Well, let him say yeah first, and then I'll put him on. I used to get Orlando Bloom, and I used to get Ashton Kutcher. Those were like the two main.
Oh, I could
Like,
see that.
oh, you look
I
like
thought you
this
were
guy.
going to say that people think you look more like Johnny Depp.
No, I got Orlando Bloom, and then
He says he can't.
and then we still have to read the story, so I'm gonna read your story on here. And then when I got older, one thing I hate is I think people just kind of assume that you look like the people that you're into, right? So people tell me I look like when I was bleaching my hair at the time, to their credit, but they tell me I look like Kurt Cobain. I'm like, no, I don't. I have bleached
No, I
long
don't.
hair, and I'm a
Yeah.
white dude. And then now people tell me I look like Charles Manson. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm just like,
I do see that though.
no, I'm
I
a white
definitely
dude with long hair. If anything, you guys are being racist. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no. But any guy with long hair and facial hair gets told they look like Jesus or Charles Manson. It's
yeah.
or Jim Morrison if you're lucky. No one's ever told me I
Oh,
look like Jim Morrison,
no. I don't
but
see that.
no. But when I was like 19 through 22, I'd get Kurt Cobain just because I bleached my hair. And I'm like, every blonde person doesn't look
But
like Kurt
wasn't
Cobain.
he like pale white? He was like he had
Yeah,
like the platinum blonde hair, and he was really pale.
it was on drugs. I
Yeah.
was also on
Okay.
drugs at the time, so maybe that has a lot to do with it.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely see the Manson thing going on. You know, when I looked at your astrology chart and his, you guys have a lot of similarities. So I was like, oh, okay.
Hey,
Something going on here.
Broccoli Badass, your name. What's your birthday? Does you have to put the year in too, or just month and day?
Yeah. Yeah, the year.
Yeah, give us your whole birthday.
Can you see on your computer how many people are watching, or it's
It's just him.
so nobody gives a fuck?
Yeah, it's just him. All right, check his shit out.
2004.
I told you, these kids are young.
It's okay. Well, you know, thank you for coming. Wait, maybe we can ask him about the younger generation's fashion.
Sent the link to a friend. Who is your
Okay.
friend? It's funny because you're like way too down to have anybody on, and I'm like, dude, I have a headache. I don't want to fuck. I'm kidding, but oh no, he sent the link. I think just to the stream, not like to get on or anything yet. I don't know. I'm bad at reading chat when they pop up. Oh, I know jack shit about fashion. What were you saying, that kids that try to dress like it's the 90s, but they dress hella lame?
Okay, so I've noticed, because I live near a couple of schools, so I see when the kids come out and what they're wearing and how it's changed over the years. I've noticed that kids under the age of maybe like 20 or so, they only want to wear muted tones like dark blue, gray, black, and white. And nobody wants to wear any like skater shirts anymore or any graphic tees. They just want to wear baggy hoodies, baggy jeans, pants.
Nobody should be wearing skater shirts unless they skate, first of all.
But I mean, you remember in school, like every fucking kid had like a Volcom t-shirt or like a Vans t-shirt on, and like even like the fat kid at school like had like he went to Vans and got a tee. Everybody had them.
I think I had a couple Volcom shirts. I wore a lot of Quicksilver when I was in like grade school. I wear Vans and don't skate. I mean, yeah, I wear Vans shoes, but that's different than wearing like a Thrasher hoodie.
Yeah, that was big too.
And nowadays you get made fun of if you wear Thrasher and don't skate.
Yeah.
So it's probably why they don't wear skater clothes anymore.
Yeah, but I feel like that's different for girls though. A lot of girls I know will wear like
well, yeah, girls also wear Carhartt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And plus girls can wear whatever they want. Girls have no rules. If you look good, you can wear whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. That's true.
I wish I was a girl. In the summertime, I just wear nothing.
Okay.
I'm out here wearing long johns under my jeans in the summertime and shit. It's miserable.
You gotta wear your bell bottoms.
Yeah.
Like you said you would.
I haven't seen anyone with Thrasher in years. Yeah, I haven't seen Thrasher in a long time either. I mean, I don't live anywhere where people dress up. I live in a town full of like farmers.
So they'll stare at you if you wear anything out of the norm.
Yeah, I don't care if people stare at me. I just get tired of it. And plus, I look like, cause my bell bottoms they're fucking bell bottoms, you know.
Yeah,
they're like the belliest of.
But I mean, that's how I feel being so heavily tattooed. Is I just don't go outside much because people want to look at me and people want to touch me as if like my skin has like a different texture. It's really weird.
Who stares at you for having tattoos where you live? Because I don't believe that at all.
No, it's true. It's weird because I have a lot of friends that are tattooed, but I don't have any friends locally that have any face tattoos or are as covered as myself. Because I have my hands tattooed, which is quite rare, which is, strange. A lot of people are caught up. A lot of people have regular jobs, so they feel like they have to like hide them. Whereas because, I do what I do, I don't have to cover anything up.
Do you live in a city or a town? Like a big city or a small town though? Oh shit, no, I'm clicking on random stuff.
Okay. It's like, I guess like, it's like okay. You know where I live? Have you seen Fast Times?
No, wait. I'm talking to the chat.
Okay.
I know where you live. I don't know if you want me to say your real name. I keep just saying kid in the chat. I don't know if you want me to say your name on this thing.
What's your name?
No, I know his name. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice. We're on like the internet. That's why I'm not telling everybody where everybody lives.
You want to call him Broccoli?
Actually, yeah. I'm gonna call you fucking Brock. So you, Brock, I was asking you, do you live in a big city or a small town? Because you, Annie, live where fucking Hollywood movies are made.
Yeah. What's his name?
I always say Jay in my head, but I don't know if you like to go by Jay or not. I dated a girl See, I like Brock better. I dated a girl and she had a dad, and her dad, from what I heard, wasn't like a nice guy. And his name
Yeah.
was Jay. So I now always assume Jay are kind of like not nice guys. So I don't know.
Okay, well actually I'd kind of agree with that. The one Jay that I've ever known was a fucking weirdo. And he
Now we're just insulting. Now we're just insulting Brock. Holland is kind of big. I guess it's not crazy. He's just tourist place.
Oh, you live in Holland? He lives in Holland?
Wait, what Holland are you thinking? Okay, cool.
Wait, what do
you, put the state in here.
But there's only one Holland overseas.
No, he doesn't. No, he does not live overseas.
Oh.
He sent me the painting in the mail. What do you think? Is mailing me shit from Europe?
Yeah. Listen, I have friends that live in Romania, and we send each other stuff. So
he's in Michigan.
Okay. I didn't know there was a.
But see, we live in place. I don't know. I guess I could see people in Michigan not caring what you wear, because Michigan, people are dying in Michigan all the time, right? I would not have paid that shipping cost. See, he doesn't like me that much.
Yeah, I recently sent a book to my friend in Romania. I think it was like $15 shipping.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's actually not that bad, but
I don't have any friends that I pay $15 for shipping. That's not true.
I don't, it's just, they live in a very small town. They literally live where the actual Dracula's castle is, like right over there. And, yeah, my friend Tim, he's in this like rock band and he loves the Doors. Like, I guess like in Romania, there's a ton of kids out there that love classic rock and metal. And they don't have a lot of resources because it's so small. So I was like, okay, like, let me send you some stuff. So he's like super into witchcraft. So I sent him like a couple of witchcraft things and like a book. And then I guess like, because every country has their own customs and what's allowed in. So I was like reading what you can send to Romania, and it's like fucking weird. Like you can't send anything with like a curse word on it, or like any like a woman with like a bare chest or anything of the sort. Like no nudity, like any word that references sex, like whatsoever. There was a ton of stuff.
No titties in Romania. Who's Mr. User? Can you see the comments when I put them up on screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, who is that? Who just waved? Oh, your friend.
Yeah, we're just gonna call you friend.
Does your friend want to come on camera? We're inviting people on.
No, his name is I. Anyone that comes on camera, if you have a shitty phone or shitty microphone and camera, I will come to your house personally and I will beat the fuck out of you for bringing that poor quality nonsense.
It's fine. We want to be welcoming to our guests.
No, we don't welcome anyone. I don't like anyone. There's no titties allowed in Romania. Doesn't Andrew Tate live in Romania?
Yeah, I think so. Doesn't he?
It's one of those places like Romania or like Hungary or like Abu Dhabi or some shit. Those are totally different places. I don't know, but
yeah.
If there's no titties allowed in Romania, what's Andrew Tate actually doing? These are the things we need to be asking.
Illegal activities.
But I thought those illegal activities revolved around titties.
I don't know. If there's a will, there's a way.
I guess.
But it was like, okay, like you couldn't send.
He does, yeah, that, or he fled there to escape those sex trafficking charges.
Like you couldn't. I think also it said like you can't send any like crystals or like rocks, or there was like a whole list of things that was very bizarre.
They're cracking down on drugs.
So then what happened is like, so the friend that I sent it to, he I didn't know his last name. So I literally on the address, I wrote his first name and then like his Instagram username. So then what happened is like, because it goes through customs, and I guess their post there is very official. So they he had like a whole thing trying to get the package. They were like, well, what is your real last name and why wouldn't she put it on the package? And he had to show like several documents showing that we were in communication and that I was a real person, because I guess they're so skeptical on what is brought into the country. They don't want anything like witchcraft being sent over there.
I guess that makes sense. Jeremy Dick, when you sent me my package, you put disco asshole, right? I think you sent it to disco asshole.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, disco asshole. What's funny is that my mailman here, he's hella cool. Like he knows. I mean, I order shit all the time. He's just like this big dude. I'm sure he saw that package and was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Okay, so who's the second person that joined? The friend. Can we get a name?
Friendo. His name is I. He literally put I.
Yeah, but that's like, come on, that's lazy. Like, what?
You're allowed to be lazy.
Give us
here.
a name.
This kid's going by J. That's one letter. And if you leave out the A and the Y.
Does he want to come on camera?
You got to ask these people. They can hear you.
Okay, do you guys want to come on camera? We will
Jay already said he can't. Jay is probably
start reading stories.
Jay is probably taking part in a threesome right now for all we know. Mr.
Okay.
User. Okay, Mr. User. We'll go with Mr. User.
So do you have Jay's story? And let's
I do have your story,
start
Jay.
this conversation.
It's the best one.
Okay.
The best part is that it's actually the most realistic while also being the most comedic.
Okay.
What if I'm getting distracted on Instagram? Ate some, actually. See? My guy knows what he's doing. Okay. So we said we were going to write stories about the end of the world.
Yeah.
Armageddon. Do you guys call it Armageddon or the apocalypse? Which one? I usually go Armageddon.
It's interchangeable.
Okay, so again, my favorite part of the story here is that it's the year 2026. So it's like not even that far from now. I have to kind of there's not like spelling errors. I think there's grammatical errors. I don't know. I have to read it. Armageddon sounds cooler. Yeah, see.
It's okay. All writing levels welcome.
Well, the kid's not retarded. He was just, he was just hanging out.
Okay.
So, he writes, the year is 2026. After Biden's re-election and subsequent after Biden's re-election and subsequent passing, in parentheses, dementia and hemorrhoids, the left and right got more and more divided. The country split and its citizens more and more split. Okay, no, it's the country and citizens more and more split. I was drunk as hell. There's a lot of errors, I bet. No, there's not too many bad errors. Yeah, the left and right got more divided. Eventually, a civil war ensued. We're going this way. The North, and it makes fun of everybody, so let me finish all the sentences. The North, it's North versus South. I mean, I guess that's like old school. The North, with its soy cuck liberal Twitterites with their gay agendas and Reddit-based smarts. The South, with its militias of redneck whiskey-chugging bandits armed to the teeth with PVC pipe pistols and their grandpappy's old buck knives. And those caught in the middle, not leaning toward one side or the other. So it's North versus South. This is old school. This is the best. This is the last paragraph, though, so we have to finish this after this.
Okay.
Hell broke loose when the rednecks got a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook. One of them learned, I like how he says that old school trick as if we all know this old school trick. One of them learned that old school trick to make napalm. And then this part is definitely an error. Another revolutionized revolution. when this is the best part, when he created an atom bomb with nothing but a Ford F-150 engine, an IKEA table, and an Allen wrench.
Okay, that's creative.
And then it says, apparently the country's homophobes were in charge of where to send the atom bomb. So they chose San Francisco. And then it just says, so it was done. And then it says it got there. It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty.
Pompeii? What is that place I'm trying to pronounce?
Pompeii?
Is that how you pronounce it?
The city of Pompeii?
Yeah, but the volcano is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes a comment about how San Francisco looked like Pompeii prior to the volcano.
Okay.
So now we have to pick it up from there.
Okay, well, good job, first of all. That was creative.
I thought it was the most realistic.
Yeah.
Not he revolutionized the revolution. Totally makes sense.
People have been actually talking about as if there's going to be a civil war, so
yeah.
Though that's definitely, possible.
I like the atom bomb with the Ford F-150 engine.
Yeah. But I mean, that could also be like realistic in the sense of like, if it's the end of the world, you're kind of using what you got. So
yeah,
anything is possible.
I think I don't know. I think Civil War would be cool. I want shit to kind of break loose because I want to go. I want an excuse to like take off into the mountains and just like never come back down.
Yeah.
I'd literally just bring like.
You'd bring a girl.
What girl? What girl am I bringing with me?
But you always say that you want a girl, so I'm assuming you're gonna like grab a girl and like go. Be like, we gotta go.
Oh, they're just making me sound like a kidnapper.
No.
I haven't.
It would be consensual.
I haven't successfully attracted a female. Mr. User left, damn. Who was Mr. User? Just somebody that you know? I haven't successfully attracted a female since like 2 or 3 years ago.
Like any at all? Like they haven't even spoke to you or what?
Some Natural Born Killers type shit. That song. Are you natural? No, you're talking about the movie. There's a song Natural Born Kill Us by Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. I hate Ice Cube, but it's like my favorite rap beat of all time. When I say attracted a girl, I just mean like there was a girl I was hooking up with for like a couple of months, and this was like 2 or 3 years ago. And ever since then, I
wooed a girl.
Yeah, and ever since then, I haven't like I haven't even gotten a girl to say a flirtatious word to me since then.
So, is there Tinder where you're at, or is it too small of a community to?
No, there's Tinder. I'm just not down with all that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I know the bar.
I tried Tinder one time. No, I tried it twice. The first time I tried it, I had it for like a couple days, and then coincidentally, outside of Tinder, I went on to start my relationship with the girl that I was with for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, I deleted it. And then after her, I downloaded it one time just to try it out, and I legitimately ran into the girl I told you about that I've had a crush on like my entire life.
Yeah.
That I copied her MySpace. I ran on. She popped up on there. So I was like, oh no, what do I do? Which is the stupid question, because for some reason I was like, what if I swipe right and she finds out? And then I was like, or what if I swiped left and then she thinks I don't like her? Like, so I literally, I had like a brain thing, and then I deleted the app just entirely. I was done.
Wait, okay.
Hold on, see, look,
Broccoli is talking about Grindr.
Isn't Grindr for gay people?
Yeah.
Jay, you got some explaining to do.
Do you swing both ways? Is what you're insinuating, or?
If you do, we do not accept you here. You need to learn. I'm kidding. No, but that's like at this point it's like a cliche joke that dating apps are like not kind to dudes. I was desperate. Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah. No, actually,
Wait, hold up. My question though is, you said only weirdos on Grindr. So like you're desperate, but even the people hitting you up on Grinder are like too weird for like even a like they're that weird is what I'm getting at. Because if I'm desperate, I'm taking weirdos too. Isolating your one viewer disco button, not smart. It's true. It's very true.
One of my friends years ago was using the apps, and I kid you not, so she was talking to this guy, and then they were to go out on a date, and then they met up, and he showed up, and he was like a complete burn victim, and he told her that he had used his twin brother's photos
Oh, that's
because nobody
awesome.
wanted to meet him, and she was like, "That's fucked up. You can't do that," and then she left.
Yeah,
I was
rightfully
like,
so.
that's rough.
Yeah.
That's
What sucks is that the burn victim deserves all the sympathy in the world, but once you start doing that shit, you lose
yeah.
all the sympathy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she said it was like full on face, everything.
Okay, this our show has already devolved into delinquency. This is awesome.
Okay, so anyways, do you have a story? Did you write a story or something?
Yeah, I wrote the first half of one.
Okay, half? Okay.
You didn't finish yours either.
No, I wrote like 3 paragraphs from like the middle of something, but yeah.
Well, mine I feel like is the easiest to I don't want to say like the easiest to go off of. Okay, so I wrote the year is 2060. Mine's weird because mine kind of involves a flashback. The year is 2060. The few people left on Earth are trapped in their homes. Some have been preparing their whole lives for this and are surviving on rations. Many weren't prepared and have starved to death in their own homes.
Okay.
There's no more police officers, there's no more military personnel, there's no more government, and there's no more president. The reason for this chaotic scene is, and then dot dot dot, and then flashback. It says on August 3rd, 2058, which is 2 years prior, the sixth grade class from Tremont Elementary School in Dixon, California, were at a local farm on a field trip. While observing the sheep on the farm, a portal opened up in midair just a few feet away from the class. From out of the portal stepped 3 humanoid-looking creatures with, and I never decided what they like. I was trying to figure out like the description for like,
Okay.
but I don't want them to be aliens because that's too cheesy. So that's why they're just like multi-dimensional things. But basically, what was going to go on to happen was these 3 creatures were going to come out. They were going to have some kind of guns that didn't kill people, but just kind of paralyze them. And they were going to take half of the 6th grade class kids back in through the portal with them.
Uh-huh.
Nobody knows if they're dead. Nobody knows if they're being studied. For all you know, it could be heaven on the other side of the portal, but they're just not on Earth. So technically, they're dead to us. So then what happens is once that first instance happens, portals are just going to start opening up everywhere. So that's why the population is dwindling. One of the rules, because there's always rules to these like horror stories, is that for some odd reason, portals will not open up inside of buildings. So that's why people are trapped in their homes, because they quickly learned that only when you step outside do you have the potential of a portal opening and something coming out of the portal and dragging you back with them. So everyone that is left, they're just trapped in their homes with surviving with whatever they got. If you leave your
Yeah.
house, you run the risk of being taken into one of these portals. And I only thought of portals because I've been listening to this podcast. I think I've told you about it. It's called The Confessionals. It's this guy. He just talks about cool stuff. A lot of like extraterrestrial stuff.
Okay.
Dude, didn't some shit like that actually happen? Like some school had some weird alien gnomes around the playground or something in the 50s. I think there wasn't where he talked there. I heard a story about like a school in Africa or some shit, if that's what you're getting at. It was in some other country where like some students saw something. And then another thing I was thinking about when I wrote it was that incident in Florida at the mall that just happened like a couple months ago where like people swore does nobody remember that anymore?
No, what happened?
Okay, hold on. Yeah, see? I was right, Jay. Yeah, I heard that like it was like a couple of years ago, maybe even a couple of months ago. Yeah, there was like a school in Africa and these kids, it was like recess or something, like just something completely random. And yeah, I don't remember if they saw a portal or a ship, but they like saw some weird shit and it got weird. And of course they were told to be quiet. The Florida story, the fact that it's gone already is comical to me. Just like a couple months ago, it was all over the news for like a day, and then of course went away.
Yeah.
In Florida, like
that.
it was in Miami. The Miami Mall incident. Every single cop in Miami showed up at the mall one night. Which, what incident ever gets every single cop in Miami? I think I saw you post about the
I
mall
don't
thing.
know.
Yeah, I probably did. So the story that was these people at the mall.
Small people.
There was a couple different stories. Some of the stories that came from the bystanders at the mall, the shoppers, were that one of them was that somebody saw a portal open up just in the middle of the mall, and things started walking out. Some people talked about like 10-foot tall gray alien looking motherfuckers. Some people talked about different stuff. The one thing that I know is that every police department or every police officer in Miami showed up there. I don't care if like the entire like Bloods and Crips gangs start fighting in the middle of Los Angeles. Every single police officer is not coming to that scene, right?
Yeah.
So then the news and everything tried to tell people like, oh, what it was it was a group of kids that were setting off firecrackers.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a fuck. You're not calling every single cop in Miami to get kids with firecrackers.
Yeah.
And then the stories changed. Oh, the kids were fighting. I don't care. I don't care if it's like 1,000 grown men are fighting. You're not calling every single cop in Miami to stop a fight. That's not. You're gonna get 2, 3, 4 cops at the most.
Yeah.
And then after that, there were stories from some of the bystanders where they were talking about how there was like official looking dudes that were confiscating phones, people that got footage on their phones. Of course, there was one really shitty quality video that someone got.
Of
And
course.
they're always shitty. Yeah. My one reason when people ask you why hasn't anybody recorded Bigfoot? My best reason that I can think of is because I'm not one of those people that naturally thinks to pull out their phone when something happens.
Yeah.
And if I think I saw Bigfoot or a portal, like, bet your ass I'm not sitting there like, oh, I gotta get this. Like,
no. Yeah.
I'm running. I'm taking off. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was Friday night. I did get a video of 2 girls fighting outside of a club in Sacramento. Oh my god! I gotta send it. I gotta send it to both you guys. It's 2 girls. They're 2 drunk girls fighting. My friend actually steps in and breaks it up. You can hear me yelling at him with my like hoarse voice because I'd been yelling in the club all night. I was trying to tell him to get the fuck out of the way. These girls start fighting, and there's some other girl that's like hyping one of them up,
Yeah.
And she sees that we're recording, and she turns around and she looks at me and my friend. I already know, Jay, you're gonna love this. Apparently what they're fighting, this must be what they were fighting about, because the girl, she turns around and she saw, yeah, this bitch didn't pay for her hot dog. And then like, well, like that's what apparently what they were fighting about is that one of the girls got the other girl a hot dog and the one girl didn't pay. I don't know. It's 2 drunk Mexican girls.
So
but
like
it's
this
awesome.
is like small town fighting.
Well, Sacramento's
over a hot dog.
Sacramento's the capital of California.
But I feel like yeah. Okay, yeah. I feel like you could write a story on that.
Just a minute, I gotta see it. Yeah, I gotta send it to you. A selfie with Bigfoot. I like to think I'd be that badass, but like, some people think that Bigfoot is multi-dimensional, and that's why no one can catch him. Or them.
I don't know.
All right, what's your story?
My story?
Yeah, then I'm going to send him this video, but you got to tell your story.
Okay. All right, guys. So I went because I actually write and I'm writing a book, I went in with the words, the descriptive words. So my story, as I've said, it's about a bunch of like alien like alien men that have come to Earth, and they're killing everybody with their very large stingers. And so just so Jay is aware, what?
You did aliens though.
Yeah, I did aliens. But just so Jay is aware, I write monster smut. So of course everything I write has to
Jay would love that.
That's end up in some kind of like fuck scene.
Yeah.
So basically what I wrote is like the aliens have already been invading Earth for like a week now, and this is the point of view of like one girl, and she's trying to like hide from them. So and I wrote this, and then I thought like, well, I could actually really get into this, but okay. She she peered out the window. The sun was shining and the oak trees slightly swayed amongst the breeze. If it was any other time, she would be outside getting her dose of vitamin C and enjoying the warmth amongst her skin. Today was different, though. She couldn't go outside. She didn't know when she'd ever be able to at this point. The large bee like men had invaded the city. The aliens were here. A terrifying thought, though she managed to see one flying around as she carefully peeked behind the curtains, hoping she wasn't found. They were jacked and shredded and well over 7 feet tall, their wingspan over 6 feet on each side, able to carry the striped muscle and flesh flying through the air. She wasn't sure what they were here for. The power went out nationwide, and the streets were filled with people screaming and crying. There were rumors spreading quickly that they were killing people with their thick, long stingers, but she didn't dare go outside to find out. For now, she would be silent and hide indoors, hoping not to be found. But as her eyes carefully peered behind the curtains, she couldn't help but notice the strength of their backs, the carved muscle of biceps, and the razor-cut jaw lines. A ferocious possessiveness blazing through their yellow eyes. But the most intriguing sight to see was their stinger. Rough, striped, and hard between their monstrous thighs. She wondered how that stinger felt, if it was really one to kill. But luck was not on her side today, for the massive beast flying above spotted her nervous, doughy eyes and locked in, ready to slay her. His body quickly landed on 2 feet, the sheer strength and heavy muscle causing the ground to ripple beneath her feet. Gasping, her chest raced, and she ran upstairs to hide as quickly as she could in one of her closets, piling her body with linens and clothing so as not to be seen. The bee-like man ripped her front door off in one go, throwing the piece of wood far off into the distance. Not quiet in demeanor, she could hear his pounding footsteps below, a soft buzzing noise heard through the air. She was terrified, praying and hoping the universe would let her go, for she had made it this far. But alas, that was not the case today. And as she heard the thunderous footsteps coming up the stairs, tears welled in her eyes as she placed her hand over her mouth, hoping her breath would be muffled. But there he was. The door flew open. His alien antennae knew where to find her. Not much of a chase. His muscles shined against the sunlight, his abs trailing down to the heavy girth that he slowly grabbed, gently rubbing from root to tip. Her eyes moved downward to his movements, noticing the drops of honey dripping from him, his chest slowly rising, hungry for his kill.
So she fucks the alien bees.
Or
she's
yeah,
going
that's all I wrote. So I was trying to figure out like what would happen next if I really made that into something, and I kind of wanted it to be like, so it's there. People are unsure why they're here, but a lot of people are getting killed and they're not sure how because people are hiding. And like she's assuming that they're killing people with their like giant dicks. But what I think what would happen is maybe like he like looks at her and he's like, no, she's good for breeding, so I'm gonna like keep her. And then like maybe what I could do is, I don't know. I either thought that like he could want to keep her because he feels like she'd be good for breeding, or he really likes her, but they are able to kill people with their giant cocks, and it's like the honey that kills them. So maybe what like he does is like he has a ton of sex with her, but he can never like come the honey in her, otherwise she'll die.
Have you ever heard of I guarantee you're gonna say no, but there's this great film from the 80s called Humanoids from the Deep.
No, what's that?
Humanoids from the Deep is basically these kind of like alien sea creature looking monsters come into Earth. They kill all the men and rape all the women for breeding purposes.
Okay.
It's like it's perfect like 80s trashy
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm looking it up online right now.
Yeah, I mean, the ending scene is literally just these creatures killing men and raping women. Like it's perfect for like it's like one of the greatest monster movies. I think it was Roger Corman. So you know it's trash. Yeah, Roger Corman was one of the producers. It was I think it was directed by a woman, and by the time it was finished, Roger Corman, I don't know if you know who he is. He's like a famous producer.
Mm-mm.
He said, "There's not enough nudity and there's not enough violence." Like that's the kind of producer he is. So, and you know,
Okay.
when you get a yeah, exactly. It's a perfect example of average 80s movie plot. But yeah, I don't know. That was the first thing I thought of with that story was I think one of the big questions is there consent in every one of these? Uh,
I know because I after I wrote it, I was like, okay, well, it sounds like a rape story, but if I actually went ahead and like made this into a story, I would rework what I just wrote into something more concrete. But I like the thought of like she's terrified and then he finds her and he's just like shredded, like holding his penis, like let's fucking
yeah,
go, and she's like, okay.
I will.
So
I feel like you wrote the most serious one so far. I will write serious stories. I just Armageddon
but
stories. What's the
like that's just I guess because I write so much, that's just how I write. So it's like no pressure. It's just those are the
No, no,
words
no.
coming
I just mean
out.
my stories. Like I'm not always gonna bring in like half finished.
Yeah, no. It's okay. It's okay. I just to me like that's like just a little something. It's not
What do you want to do for the
compared to.
next one? I know you'll send me the
Oh,
prompt, but while we're here,
well, we can talk about that. I actually was going to ask you, what do you want to do? And we can even
Jay,
get Jay's input too. So we wrote down a whole bunch of prompts. I kind of thought, like, I was looking over them. We can either do one, if you want to do something a little more concrete, like we could do one where you write, like in a paragraph or two, like write a description of like an interaction between two people. So then you're really, getting your descriptive words out. But I don't know if that's kind of boring.
no,
Or
I
we
would
could
I
do
would
one.
I would do that one. I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because I wrote down like you can describe like a scene about describing a person and their motivation and what they're doing in that moment, or you can describe a person and their interaction between another person.
I
Or I had
I
one where you could write about like a night of a full moon, so then it's kind of eerie, like what happens during the full moon.
I could come at you. I could come at you with the cheesiest fucking like 10 paragraph story about one single night that I had with a girl, like walking around town at 2 in the morning, sharing a water bottle of warm vodka, talking about music and shit.
You could
So
do for an interaction between two people.
what's funny is my like favorite genre. Obviously, I'm like the fucking horror guy, and I try to write like horror stuff. Romance is my absolute favorite. Fucking like I'm a cheeseball. The only reason I don't write, like I told you I like to write scripts and shit, but romance to me, I feel like romance is like the hardest one to write because
Yeah.
good romance is like 1 inch away at all times from just being a straight fucking cheese fest and being tacky as fuck. It's got to be good. Full moon. I'm 100% writing werewolf. Okay, look, Jay will meet you on the monster smut.
I like the full moon. Yeah, I love the werewolf smut. That's always fun. I do like that.
Does monster smut always have to be
Wait,
one
who
human?
else is in the room? He just said there's
Well, you
there's more
you can't
people.
make us look desperate.
What? No, I
We
just
got
want to know, like,
we
if
gotta we
you
gotta
can
look
see on
cool.
your side.
No, no. If you just got here, fuck you. We don't care about you. We're cool. We don't need you. It's
No,
all good.
welcome, welcome. So what were you saying? So the werewolf smut?
No, I was just asking the genre of monster smut. Is it always a monster and a human, or is it
Well,
sometimes?
that's why it's called monster smut. Yeah, it's at least the ones that I've read, it's always a human, normally a human female, and then some kind of monster. I came across this book last night on Instagram. I forget what it was called, but I was looking at the book cover and it was like a minotaur and then just like a ripped man and they were like doing it from behind and I was like I'm not going to read that one. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. But yeah, no, it's normally always a human female, and she's very dainty. And then it's like a 7 foot to 10 foot tall monster.
So it's all
And
Beauty and the Beast stuff for the most part.
yeah, but it's usually like, it's all
It's
explicit and
yeah,
like
it's
every
dirty.
other page. So when I was writing this bee scene, what happened is I was thinking to myself the other day, okay, how am I going to go about this? So I immediately thought of like end of the world aliens. And this girl I know, I think I've told you about the Shrek book. So a friend of mine wrote some Shrek smut. She recently wrote a book retelling of the Bee movie, and it was very good, but it wasn't like what I wrote. Hers was like this bee alien comes to Earth because he's trying to find a mate, and then they have a lot of sex and fall in love. So I was like, well, that would be interesting to have like aggressive bees. So then I wrote that, but I don't know. Like I feel like because I've seen other authors write smut up like with bugs, but I don't feel like bugs are like attractive.
Well,
You
neither
know,
are
like
monsters.
I don't know. I feel like the concept, because a lot of these monsters in the books, like they have monster heads, but then their bodies are more human like. So like when I've read ones with like a minotaur, it's like a bull head with like a man's body, but he's like massive. Or the same for like werewolves. But then it's like when you read one on like a Mothman, it's the anatomy is different because he's like a hairy bug, and then like the penis like retracts, it's like hiding inwards,
Ha-
which is like weird.
have you ever read The Lesser Key of Solomon?
No.
It's the Aleister Crowley book I told you about. You should, just
Okay.
because like the 72 demons he talks about, they're all like those crazy combinations of like a
Okay.
like a monkey's body with a lion's legs and like
Yeah.
3 heads. It's always cool stuff like that. So I'd imagine you could make like, I mean, you could turn these demons into like monster smut type stuff, I'm sure. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in the book that I'm writing, I have a lot of demons going on, and
yeah,
um I'm going to create like a whole world. So, yeah, but it's I'm not really a fan of like the bugs, like Mothman, anything with like antenna. It's just kind of weird to me. Or it's like anything that's like a lizard, because I guess some reptiles do actually have multiple penises.
yeah.
And so they write that in the books, which I think, like I read, okay, so this one chick that I read, she wrote a book retelling Alice in Wonderland, where she's in a throuple with the Cheshire Cat and the caterpillar. And it's like, oh, it's rough. It's rough. It is so rough because it's like the caterpillar, she makes him into like I don't know. He's like this like Mediterranean man. So he's like an Arabian face, but then like his body is this caterpillar. And then his penis like retracts. And then whenever he comes, he like comes like his eggs in her. It's fucking gross. It's gross. And then it's like when she's not making out with him, he's making out with the cat. And it's just like nasty.
Yeah, it sounds wild. I mean, we
There's so much to say about it, but what it, maybe they might have 4 dicks.
but that would
They
mean
might.
like 2 per head.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I'm still I'm gonna write the greatest romance story ever known to
Yeah,
mankind.
no, you should write like a human on human one. And I'll just continue talking about, these 7 feet tall monsters out there.
Well, it was like I was saying, even in like the little thing that I wrote for this week, everything that I write has to come from like Tremont Elementary School from Dixon, California was the school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're like, oh, write about an interaction, I'm literally going to pull up like an interaction that I had.
So, okay, so for next week, do you guys want to do like write a 1 to 3 paragraph interaction between 2 people, or do you want to do the full moon thing?
I
What
say interaction, but if
I'm fine with that.
if Jay is voting, I bet he's gonna go full moon though. So I'll see if
Well,
he
we could
says
do
anything.
interaction and then after next week, then do the full moon thing. I feel like so when it comes to the interaction, the reason I wrote that one is because it's important
He'll do
to
the
use
interaction.
it's important to use descriptive words. Like you want to know, like maybe write it from the point of view of either yourself or a character and like what they're thinking and feeling and what they smell and like,
See,
while they're conversing.
this is, I think I talked about this last week. This is where you and I will differ like the most. Your writing seems very structured and like you're talking about detailed words.
But I
I
mean, I guess that's just me. Like you
I
can
know,
do
no,
whatever
that's what I'm
you
saying.
want.
You're on this side, and then I don't want to say like I'm the fucking wild card. First of all, you have to say I am like extremely arrogant about my writing. Like I'm entirely confident. Maybe that's like Leo shit in me. I'm like I constantly tell people like when I write scripts, I don't think Quentin Tarantino is a fucking genius. I think I could outright Quentin Tarantino any day. So just because I don't do like the scholarly structured way,
Yeah.
I still will sit down in a bar, half blackout drunk, and write like the greatest fucking story you've ever read. Sometimes you got to give me some time, but gonna write some absolutely heinous interaction. Actually, yeah,
You should. You should. I want you to get like super creative and just like write something raw and just nasty and whatever you want to write.
I used to be pretty confident about my writing, but I haven't in a long time. Yeah, I've been on a lazy stretch for at least like a year now. I mean, I still know it's like it's within me. I'm kidding.
It is within you.
But I obviously it's not, writing isn't one of those things that you lose. I've just been fucking around.
So here's a question. So if when we do this interaction thing, how would you write it? Would you write it from like observing the interaction or like your own point of view?
I'm
Just your experience.
I'm already like I already have a story in like
Okay.
from my past. It involves my favorite ex-girlfriend. Oh, look, what do you know? Jay's talking about his ex as soon as I mentioned an ex-girlfriend. It's the stuff I'd write, but we broke up and I had no motivation.
Okay, well
Welcome
now you have the motivation.
welcome to
So
welcome to the club.
welcome to the club. Next week, it would be cool if we could get you on camera so we can all be conversing. Be really fun if you can.
She wants people on camera because she wants us to look cool.
I just like, you know what? I use Zoom a lot, and so I
No.
like having a lot of,
That's me. It would make us look cool if people were actually on here. There's still one other person along with Jay.
I don't mind like reading the chat. That's totally fine. But I always like having live conversations with people if they are able to do that.
I pretty much
fun.
started prepared for like last Saturday. I did the first half of one of the Manson Pearl hearing watch alongs. I was by myself that entire. My brother actually stopped into the chat for a couple minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
the way I've been looking at it is if people join in, like right now, Jay in the chat, that's badass. But if I'm by myself, I just, it's a grind. I feel like to get people to start giving a fuck about your. I got 5 subscribers today on this YouTube channel though.
That's good.
But that's from the shorts. I'm telling you, the shorts.
Okay.
I hate it. I'm recycling shorts for my Instagram. So like I'm doing the funny Manson ones. Like I put up the Manson versus Joe Biden, which is an all-time classic. And then I did the Burn compilation where Manson's talking shit, and then it cuts to Ashton Kutcher from that 70s show yelling "Burn." And that one's getting plays. That one's up to like 2,000 views, which is more views than anything else I have. But I hate that they're the shorts. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I was looking stuff up, and somebody was saying that if you want to be like a successful YouTuber, you should be putting up like 3 to 4 shorts a day. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, these people don't have jobs.
No, that's the thing. I'm like at work, like trying to like sharpen a blade and then edit a fucking thing and then sharpen a blade. I'm like, it's terrible.
Well, I do know that a lot of them will they'll prepare it ahead of time, like months in advance. So they'll spend like a couple of days just cranking out like 100 of them, and then over time they release them. But that takes a lot of time to do that.
I pulled a couple from my stream on Saturday night. There's 2 of just me talking that I pulled, and then I'm start making Minecraft short. Oh my god, it's true. If I made Minecraft shorts, It's so embarrassing. I hate the world today. I can try to be on camera. Yeah, hell yeah. I can try to be on camera. It depends on a bunch of shit. So depending on how a bunch of shit goes.
Jay, do you have an idea of the kind of interaction that you would want to write about?
Yeah, actually, I guess I'm curious. Would you pull from your real life, or would you pull from, or would you
Your
make one up? Because you can
imagination.
make up an interaction, or would you make up an interaction and pass it off as your own? 'Cause I do that too.
I'm inevitably just gonna write like a Fox scene or something, you know, from my story. I'm just gonna, just because it helps me with where I'm at with my own writing in my book. But yeah, I'd like to hear what you're gonna write about.
Oh, he already said he was going to make it heinous, though, so I think he's probably going to make one up.
Yeah, that's cool. We always love that.
Probably some freaky ass sex thing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm down for that.
That's perfect. That's great.
Who? I can't think of what I'm going to ask. I'll just leave it at that. I'm probably bad at writing like sex scenes. I've never written a sex.
You know what? It's really difficult. Because you have to describe every single moment and what they're thinking and feeling, and like you have to go through all the senses.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I read so many of these books. It's like some of them, the bar is so low. It's just like they did it, he shoved it in, it was hard and rough and whatever. But then some of these authors, it's like you're like, you feel like you're there, and it's incredible how they write.
You know, one of my problems, one of my biggest struggles with writing is I think I mentioned last week, my favorite thing to write is dialogue, right? Like I'm a sucker for a good conversation between two characters.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm hard at is I guess it'd be like descriptive words. I'm kind of like to the point. This is also something I already noticed on Saturday night when I did my last stream.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd watch Charlie say like 10 minutes worth of stuff, and then I'd be like, yeah, that was hilarious, and I'd click play again. I'm like way too, so like if I was gonna write a sex scene, I like my definition of what I would write is they fucked. You all know what it's like, and then carry it. Like, I'm just to the point.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. So then I have to remember, like, you know, you gotta, you know, I'm
gotta add like at least some heavy breathing in there, like something.
Yeah, I say I'm sometimes not good at turning one page into 10 pages.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, when I get to dialogue, that's when I have to like. The last script I actually wrote was, it was like a horror story, and I got like almost 100 pages into it, and it was like, oh, these characters are still all just talking around the house, like nothing bad. I'm like, dude, I'm like over an hour into this fucking thing, and I've just got people talking, because that's just like my favorite shit to write. It's just people talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I always have to scale back on that, and then I have to add to the action. That's what it is. I'm better at the talking than the action.
Well, that's okay. That's how some people write. They like to it's like script writing, you know.
Yeah.
So
I could see that, Jay. Normal sex scenes. I mean, what are you gonna write about that? That's too, you know. Best I can write something. It's pretty wet.
Sounded like silly
putty.
You
gotta reference the macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
When you're stirring macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, you should make it like just raw and nasty, and like, I don't know what kind of people you want to use, or if they're even human.
You use like dirty people that are gross, and
it's like two homeless drug addicts.
Make it something
in a factory.
Make it something that gets me kicked off of YouTube, so that the next YouTube channel I make, I can claim like I have the badass status of having gotten kicked off of YouTube before. I got kicked off of TikTok. That's all I have so far. But TikTok is like the wussiest platform of all of them. I mean, they're all pretty bad at this point, but
yeah,
TikTok was the first one I got kicked off of. I'm actually kind of nervous about the YouTube thing now that I was thinking about it earlier today, because I put up the whole Joe Biden versus Charles Manson reel, and I was like, is YouTube going to get mad at me for this? Like, are you allowed to make a video about Joe Biden and Charles Manson fighting?
I don't know. I
Because the
don't.
rules are never, and I know they do this on purpose, but the rules are never, they're never very clear. It's, you know what I mean? It's always like,
Yeah.
don't say anything mean. Like, okay, well, what the fuck is mean? Like, I don't know. What sucks is there's two things that suck. One, I really want to use that fucking Rumble platform. But
Yeah.
what sucks about it is that it's now been claimed by like the boring conservatives. So anybody else on Rumble, you're automatically either Andrew Tate or like a fucking vanilla conservative, which I don't want to do.
Okay.
And then also nobody knows about it. That's like the two things that I hate. You know, you're not going to get shit if you go to Rumble. But I want to go to Rumble because they let you say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But I want to get plays, and so I got to hang out with fucking YouTube. And then also, just to make sure it's clear, just like my guy Jay, I hate both sides, right?
Yeah.
Conservatives are vanilla, they're fucking boring. Liberals are weird as fuck, and I want nothing to do with them. Fuck all you guys. I hope the world does end. Bring on the hemorrhoids and dementia for in the year 2026. That was my favorite part, that the world is ending in 2 years.
You never know. You never know.
I think I don't think the world's gonna end in 2 years, but I think some weird shit's gonna happen coming up here pretty soon. Well,
Okay, so so for next week we're gonna write about an interaction. I'm gonna make another flyer right now for that.
Yeah, you make better ones than I do. Keep making them.
Okay, cool. So I'll make a flyer. What I actually thought about doing is not only posting it on my story, but also posting it on my profile, because I noticed that some people that will always view and like my posts don't necessarily always view my stories, because the algorithm, like only it like the people that are like really relevant to you pop up immediately on your stories, and then it like goes down. So
Yeah.
I might do that to like gain more traction as well. But yeah, I'll make a flyer, send it to you, and then we'll post it up on Sunday. And then we'll hopefully have Jay here again and hear about his erotic sex story. So
Jay's voting for Joe Exotic. I want to write in Charlie Manson. I mentioned this on I get more story views than post views usually. I mentioned this on the stream Saturday. So what I originally wanted to do with the whole Instagram was I've been mad for so long about how they throttled my ability to get followed by new people.
Yeah.
I wanted to, gain a lot more followers and try to start like not a trend or a movement, but I wanted to try and actually get a decent amount of people to go to the ballots and write in Charles Manson for their vote. Like enough to where like maybe Fox News one day like shows my Instagram, be like, oh, like 200 kids from across the country voted for Charles Manson, and
Oh, that's
get disco
funny.
acid cold on fucking Fox News. Got a Manson for president shirt somewhere. Yeah, it's just it would just be hilarious. Like if a noticeable amount of people voted for Manson for president. I actually registered to vote like within the last year. I haven't voted like my whole fucking life. I figured I'm 30, I might as well.
Oh, wow.
I hate all of them. This is the problem with me, is that I hate all of them.
No, I know. Yeah, it's rough out there.
Dude, that'd be great. All right, man. Yeah. We all got to write in Manson. Yeah, there's just the problem with me realistically is if I ever realistically like vote, usually I find like some independent dude that no one's heard of that's clearly not going to win,
Yeah. So then it's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah,
yeah. Bit.
I think Manson would be a terrible president.
Yeah.
But better than what we have today.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's almost 7:30.
Is that your cutoff?
And yeah, I normally have like things I gotta do.
Yeah.
So
I gotta go run.
It's been like an hour and a half.
Okay. Are we leaving this up, or do you wanna just cut this one too?
Whatever you want to do. It's your page. We haven't said anything too offensive, so I don't know what you want to do.
I'll leave it up and see what happens.
Yeah, if you want to, that's
I'll
fine
just leave it.
too.
I'll leave it live, so it'll just be like on the live tab. Yeah, whatever. I'll leave it for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Okay. Well,
And
thank you,
then
Jay, for coming, and we hope to see you here next week with your story.
yeah, Jay, I sent you that
Well,
video on Instagram.
You can follow me on Instagram. I am tagged in his story as well. And okay, I will be sending you more memes shortly, as I always do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, how do I? All right, bye.